Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar on Sage Intacct Construction. My name is Ali Pakalnis, and I will help facilitate our webinar today. Before we get started, here are a few tips on using the Zoom platform so you can engage with our presenters and have the best experience possible. You should see a Zoom toolbar with icons for Ask a Question and Raise Your Hand. Please use the Ask a Question feature to submit a question or comment. If you need any assistance, click on the Raise Your Hand button and I will connect with you to help. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation and we will do our best to answer them all. If we didn't answer your question, we will follow up with you personally after the presentation. Within 72 hours of the webinar, you will receive a link to download the slide deck and recording. Today's webinar does qualify for CPE credits. To receive your credits, you must actively respond to 3 out of the 5 polling questions and stay on for the duration of the webinar. If you have any difficulty answering the polling questions, please email elevatelearn@armaninollp.com with questions. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our presenters, Todd Bowlesby and Callie Jackson.
Hey folks, this is Todd Bowlesby. I'm a senior manager here in our technology consulting practice, and great to have you here today.
And I am Callie Jackson with Sage Intacct. I'm a partner account manager and I work with Armanino, and it's one of our amazing partners. And I am a product support and bring my experience in the construction industry to support our customers and partners.
Excellent. Today's learning objectives: identify the trends shaping today's construction industry, examine the functionalities that Sage Intacct Construction provides, determine valuable insights about how Sage Intacct Construction can prepare your company for growth. And again, this is for CPE credit. Today's agenda, pretty straightforward. Trends in construction, I'm going to spend about 10 minutes there. Sage construction offerings, we'll spend about 10 minutes there. And then the remaining portion of the time, we will see a Sage Intacct Construction demo. But first, let's have our first polling question. Prior to this webinar, did you know that Sage Intacct had a construction module? Yes or no? Excellent. So it looks like we have full participation there. Looks like the majority of you did, in fact, know about this. Ali, are you going to stop the polling? Oh, there we go. All right. So that's good to know. I'm going to turn this over to my partner, Callie, to talk about trends in construction.
Great, thanks, Todd. If you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. In researching trends in the construction industry, I consistently came upon these 4 trends from a variety of sources, such as the National Association of Home Builders, Dodge Data and Analytics, industry experts, and CFMA resources. You cannot research construction trends without hearing about the labor shortage. In a recent survey, 89% of construction firms reported having difficulty in filling positions, and 61% said they're experiencing project delays due to the labor shortage. Not only is there a shortage of skilled laborers available to hire for companies, but the shortage extends to trade-specific subcontractors. These shortages are impacting project timelines and completion rates, especially in residential construction, where it is estimated that around 42% of the construction labor force works. It is also resulting in the cost of labor increasing, as the need to pay people more to retain them increases. What are some actions being taken to address this shortage? Higher salaries are being offered to recruit and retain workers. Companies are offering retention bonuses. And they've even started launching programs geared to reach future generations, starting as young as grade school all the way through to trade courses at community colleges. We're seeing a diversification in the hiring by attracting interest through social media and hiring campaigns. But as you can imagine, labor shortage and subcontractor shortages are impacting the industry as a whole. Construction companies are also, if you want to go to the construction companies increased tech usage.
How about this
Or
guy?
if we're at polling question 2, that's great too.
Yeah, seems like that one got inserted twice, huh?
Yep.
So across how many trades are there labor shortages? 20, 12, 16, or 8? I just want the Jeopardy music to play now.
I would offer, but I don't think anybody wants to listen to that.
That's why I'm refraining as well.
Okay.
Well, we're at 88%. Is that good for us?
Yep.
All right. So, Allie, do you want to share those results?
Yep, I'm sharing. It looks like most people got it right at 16.
Excellent. All right. Now let's move on to this guy right here.
Perfect. And the second trend that we're seeing is that construction companies, like much of the world, is increasing their tech usage. So it is estimated that reworks of faulty or incorrect builds account for nearly 30% of the construction industry's costs. It is no wonder that companies are turning to BIM, or building information modeling, to help cut down on this by allowing them to first build structures in a virtual environment. BIM is consistently helping construction firms maintain budgets and keep tight construction schedules, especially in conjunction with a construction management software. Construction management software, such as Sage Construction Management, allows for real-time visibility into all aspects of a project, from the lead stage through estimating to procurement, scheduling, and invoicing. An end-to-end suite, Sage Construction Management allows users to view key job costing and financial information, integrate this data with their accounting software, access it from any location, and at any time on the device of their choice, and with external team members as needed. Construction firms' willingness to adopt new technology is increasing, and their efficiencies, timelines, and budgets are seeing the benefits. We are also seeing an increase in the modular construction adoption. Modular construction is a process in which a building is constructed off-site under controlled plant conditions using the same materials and designing to the same codes and standards as conventionally built facilities, but in about half the time. Buildings are produced in modules that, when put together on site, reflects the identical design intent and specifications of the most sophisticated site-built facility without compromise. What are some benefits of modular construction? It's greener. The factory-controlled process generates less waste, creates fewer site disturbances, and allows for a tighter construction schedule. There's greater flexibility, and you can reuse modular buildings, as they can be disassembled and the modules relocated or refurbished for new use. There's less material waste. When building in a factory, by recycling materials, controlling inventory, and protecting building materials, there's improved air quality, less chance of high levels of moisture being trapped in new construction. Modular construction is also faster. Construction of modular buildings occurs simultaneously with site work, allowing projects to be completed in half the time of traditional construction. You can reduce construction schedule overall, eliminate weather delays, and you can build to code with high quality materials. And a lot of companies are seeing that modular construction is smarter. Modular buildings are built with the same materials and to the same building codes and architectural specifications as traditional construction. Once assembled, they are virtually indistinguishable from their site-built counterparts. It's safer construction, better engineered building in conjunction with BIM modeling, and the limitless design opportunities. The final trend that we are seeing in construction is one that has remained for a few years now, where material costs are soaring and the shortage remains. As of July 2024, building materials costs have increased by 37.7% since 2020. This is due to a combination of factors, including supply chain disruptions, inflation, and global shortages. For example, in December 2022, the inflation rate was 6.5%, and in June 2022, it was 8.6%. When the general cost of goods and services increases, it also impacts the price of construction materials. More than 90% of builders say they're facing material shortages. The impact of rising costs of materials and shortages are felt widely through the construction industry, not only for the companies, but for consumers as well. Rising project costs, with direct material costs making up a significant portion of overall expenses, even a moderate increase can significantly inflate project margins. With a reduced profit margin, the material costs are eroding companies' profits. Higher construction costs get passed on to home buyers in the form of higher prices, and cost fluctuations make it more difficult for appraisals to reflect the true value of the home. So let's meet a solution that can help you solve some of these trends and challenges that construction industries are facing. Sage Intacct Construction accelerates your business with the only native cloud solution that pairs decades of construction experience with the largest partner network in the industry. We have a history of trust and innovation in construction and future commitment to increase our suite of products. We have unmatched financials for construction. The depth of our financials that are endorsed by the AICPA are now purpose-built for construction. We are an end-to-end suite for construction. The breadth of our construction suite includes pre-construction, operations, payroll, and accounting. And because we are born in the cloud, we offer the best-in-cloud platform for business agility. We can increase efficiencies to help with the labor shortage, especially in the back office. We also offer extensive integrations through our marketplace for HR management solutions. With our end-to-end suite, we support your need for project management software with our Sage Construction management offering. With the increase of modular construction, the need for mobile, cloud-native capabilities is as important as ever. And finally, a good way to mitigate soaring material costs is to be able to analyze vendor data and price history with a best-in-class cloud platform for business agility. I will turn it back over to Todd after this third polling question.
Excellent. Thanks, Callie. What percentage of builders say they're facing material shortages? 15%, 90%, 27%, 86%. So pretty close. I admit I threw 86% in there just to trick you guys. It's 90%. So the 27% of you that got 90%, kudos to you. But yes, definitely 90% of builders say they're facing material shortages, which is actually quite a bit. All right, let's talk about Sage Construction offerings overall. And just, all right, so we've got, what we're gonna see today is Sage Intacct Construction. It includes project costing and billing and spend management functionality, the project estimates feature, cost type dimension, the ability to create a catalog of standardized tasks and cost types, Project manager and business users can create projects and associated work breakdown structures for their projects that can be populated from their catalog of standard tasks and standard cost types. Project manager and business users can run reports and perform financial analysis on their actual and estimated project costs using these new features. Sage Construction Management, which is actually, and we'll talk about this at the end of the webinar today, but that's going to be our next in this 3-part series about Sage Construction Management. With Sage Construction Management, or Sage CM as we like to call it, you can easily view and organize your leads and estimates, document and track leads, prepare invitations to bid, upload drawings and specifications, and prepare RFP packages. You can create estimates from scratch, from imported spreadsheets, or from previous estimates. You can set up job cost codes, client and prime contracts, and budgets with built-in wizards. You can connect your teams in the field and in the back office to efficiently execute projects on time and on budget. The scheduling features allow you to assign tasks to employees, vendors, and equipment resources with notifications directly from the schedule. You can view, edit, and track drawings and specifications in 50 different file formats. It also helps you understand the actual costs and WIP of your project long before it's finished. Sage Intacct Construction Payroll handles construction-specific requirements such as union, non-union, public work, private work, and certified payroll. It can track unions and locals and the associated rates, deal with cross-union and cross-state work, and handle direct and indirect fringe. This is a module within the Sage Intacct environment, so you don't have to leave Sage Intacct to use it. It posts directly to the general ledger, and you can cut checks directly from within Sage Intacct. Sage Field Operations is designed for specialty contractors with service technicians, including HVAC, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, refrigeration, fire protection, security alarm, and many others. Maximize technician utilization using real-time information of daily schedules and GPS locations. Access inventory, enter daily logs, create work orders, all while on site, ensuring timely delivery of the project. Check inventories and order materials using real-time availability, improving first-time fix rates. Then there's Sage Intacct Real Estate, and this puts the lease document at the center of your workflow, making it flexible enough to accommodate virtually any lease agreement, including multiple leases per tenant, multiple units per lease, and multiple tenants per lease. Track pending move-ins and move-outs, automatically prorate all charges upon move-in and move-out, calculate interest on deposits, and issue tenant 1099 INT, and reconcile final charges, credits, and deposits to send tenant refund information upon lease termination, if applicable. With Sage Intacct Real Estate, you can leverage the Sage Intacct platform to easily retrieve actual expenses and budget information from the general ledger for recoverable expense processing or to track gross potential rent and vacancy loss. Use the balance forward statement, open item statement, tenant invoice, or create your own customized billing format with Sage Intacct Custom Report Writer. Then track and administer unlimited recurring charges to be billed weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, with the ability to bill miscellaneous non-recurring charges at any time and retroactively bill unpaid charges resulting from recoverable expense reconciliation. Sage Intacct Paperless gives you control over paper-heavy processes and replaces them with an intelligent, automated solution that imports, indexes, routes, and stores documents in one secure place. Batch process invoices and supporting documentation at point of receipt. Choose to manually route invoices or build automatic sequential routing rules based on GL account, vendor job, or other index value. Use Approval Dashboard to accurately process and code invoices. Electronically view all invoices, support documents, and reviewer notes with multi-index search and retrieval. Build a paperless process and easily route critical documents for approval, including project management documents such as contracts, pictures, and change orders, HR forms, service work orders, purchase requisitions, plans and drawings for estimating takeoff, general ledger adjustment entries, and daily mail. Sage Estimating provides a smarter, faster, and more profitable way to estimate. Create more accurate and reliable estimates and win more jobs with flexible assemblies AI-powered takeoff tools, cloud collaboration capabilities, and real-time bid analysis. Replace error-prone spreadsheets with fast, precise estimates tailored to match project specifications and client preferences. Analyze incoming bids with speed and confidence using the leading cloud-native bid leveling and closing software. Leverage AI-powered takeoff tools that maximize precision and reduce takeoff time by 50% or more versus manual or generic spreadsheet methods. And integrate seamlessly with Sage Finance and construction management software. So once a bid is accepted, information flows out automatically. Sage Bid Matrix, with that, there's no secret that bid analysis is tough. Wasted time, manual error-prone processes, and the inability to collaborate are all too common. Plus, last-minute updates often turn into best guesses rather than confident decisions. Bid Matrix changes the game. Included with Sage Estimating, this powerful solution allows you to analyze incoming bids with speed and confidence. Eliminate the guesswork and instantly analyze complex subcontractor and vendor bids in your construction estimate while managing inclusions and exclusions all within an intuitive cloud-based spreadsheet UI. Manage any bid, whether it has only a base bid or includes any number of alternates, competitive or negotiated bids, and quickly process thousands of bid combinations. Collaborate effortlessly with multi-user functionality, allowing your team to work on the same estimate at the same time from any location. Instantly access your entire bid history, giving you the ability to filter projects by market, segment, region, bid submission, date, trade, and more. Takeoff dimension. Meet the only takeoff provider in the market offering complementary drawing-based and measurement-based AI technologies. This powerful, versatile, and easy-to-use tool provides estimators sophisticated, time-saving features to improve the takeoff process. When integrated with Sage Estimating, Takeoff Dimension brings innovation and efficiency to your estimates. Boost productivity up to 15x when compared to using paper or other digital takeoff methods, freeing up more time to analyze estimates and take on additional bids without adding staff. Improve takeoff speed and accuracy and eliminate the need to convert PDFs to TIFFs, as the software works with most native PDF files without conversion. Reduce complexity with seamless integration to Sage Estimating and cut your estimate prep time in half. So those are all awesome offerings by Sage overall. And then recently they came out with a bundle called Sage for Specialty Contractors, and I believe towards the end of this month they're coming out with a bundle called Sage for Developers. Sage for Specialty Contractors is a bundle of Sage construction software specifically designed for specialty contractors and offered at a bundled price. It includes Sage Intacct Construction, which we'll be seeing today, Sage Construction Management, which we'll be seeing in our next webinar, and Sage Field Operations. Sage for Developers, similarly, is a bundle for software specifically designed for real estate developers and offered at a bundled price. It includes Sage Intacct Construction, Sage Construction Management, but it also includes Sage Intacct Real Estate. Okay, I'm going to pause really quickly there. Ali, see if there's any questions that were about that before I dive into the actual demo. Oh, first we have a polling question. First, are there any questions from the people? No? Okay. Which of the options is not a Sage construction offering? Sage Intacct Paperless, Sage Builder, Sage Construction Matrix, or Sage Bid Matrix? You know, and I apologize, there's a little typo there. That third one should be Sage Construction Management. All right, so for those of you that answered Sage Builder, you are correct. However, because there was a typo, for those of you that answered Sage Construction Matrix, you are also correct because there is no such thing as Sage Construction Matrix. Awesome. All right, so if there's no questions that I can answer really quickly, then let's go ahead and dive right into the Sage Intacct Construction demonstration. All right, so I am in Sage Intacct Construction now. This is a module within the Sage Intacct environment. For those of you that don't know Sage Intacct, it's got, it's a full-fledged financial accounting system. Of course, it's got GL, AP, AR, and the like, to purchasing, order entry. And then the construction module actually integrates into the entire system, which is really awesome. And so from a dashboard and reporting perspective, we've got an example here of a project performance dashboard. This is just using the out-of-the-box native Sage Intacct reporting capabilities, which include the financial report writer to write any of the financial reports you're seeing, there's several on this dashboard as I review it with you. The dashboard creator here, which is what's allowing us to create the KPIs, and but there's also a chart and graph creator, and towards the bottom of this dashboard, you'll see we've got a chart and graph creator or some charts and graphs there that were made with that. And then if you also use the custom report writer, or what we call the interactive custom report writer, you can also put those reports onto a dashboard as well. Dashboards can be bundled into different groups of dashboards, which just makes it easier to navigate between them. You can share dashboards with users and groups if you want to. You can allow or deny them, whichever is easiest for you. And then on any given dashboard, you can have an as of date for a filter, but also you can have up to or utilize up to 3 of your dimensions in Sage Intacct. And you can see one of the dimensions on my dashboard is location, which can be entities or locations within entities. And then, of course, project, but I could add another 3rd one here. And that's including any user-defined dimensions that you add into your system, but all the standard dimensions as well. You can also create groups. So of course I can filter by specific projects down here, but I can also create dimension groups and reporting structures. So all these guys up here are groups of various groups of various projects, if you will. So if I want to, group them by project manager or by different types, and we'll see how we can use those in the reporting as well. But we can use any one of those for filtering as well. Oops. All right, so on the top of here, you can see that we can, in any one of these dashboards, we can group together what Sage Intacct calls performance cards, which you or I would likely call KPIs. So, you can see there's a handle here, and as the dashboard owner, I can grab that handle and move it around. In fact, any component on here, I can move these around and drag and drop them in anywhere I want to. So you can see here we've got project revenue, project costs, project profit margin, project profit margin percentage. How many active jobs do I have, in terms of general contracting, active jobs, MEP, month-to-date projected revenue, month-to-date projected costs, month-to-date or monthly project profit margin, monthly project profit margin percentage, and then how many new jobs did I acquire this month? And then I could see all of my active jobs here. So there's a lot of different ways that you can manipulate this data if you want. And as you can see here, you can utilize conditional formatting here. So you can compare against a prior period of your choosing, in this case, a prior month, but it could be a prior quarter, could be last year, etc. Or you can choose to put these against or compare them against a budget as well. Excuse me. Scrolling down here on this guy here, we can see we've got a project overview report. This is what I like to referred to as the Rubik's Cube effect in Sage Intacct with the dimensional chart of accounts. So, we accountants, we're used to seeing along the rows GL accounts or groups of GL accounts, right? So here we can see that we can easily see a dimension, in this case, projects. So I can see along the rows are all my projects, and then along the columns, I'm tracking things like original contract, approved changes, my contract total, what's my budget or estimate, my estimated gross profit, my estimated profit margin percentage, any commitments I've got out in there, what's my total billings, my total cost, my gross profit with some conditional formatting there, showing me that, hey, this is below zero. What's my percentage spent versus percentage billed, and my profit margin percentage. So some very useful information there. I can drill down on anything that's a blue hyperlink. So if I want to drill down on the estimate or the commitments or the total billings, things like that, or even the project itself, I can drill from here all the way to the source transactions. So that's my project overview. These guys here are pretty much the same layout. In this case, it's being split out by project manager. So that's using those dimension groups and reporting structures that I talked about earlier. So, how's Dennis Sanford doing with his projects? How's Doug Moffett doing with his? And so on and so forth. Down here, it's actually the same report, but broken out by job type. So again, using those dimension structures because I'm putting my jobs into groups. So restaurants, hotels, retail, warehouses, tenant improvements, schools, things like that. So you can easily see, which projects, which types of projects are really the most profitable for you in the long run. And maybe in the future, you decide, yeah, maybe we won't do tenant improvements or something like that. Backlog reports. So this is a backlog report showing me projects that are in backlog, current projects versus my backlog projects down here below, and the total backlog projects there. And then this is profitability. So it's just a different view. So it's showing me my project costs over here, my revenue. And then it's breaking out my projects along the column now instead of along the row. So again, that's that Rubik's Cube effect, or the flexibility of the dimensional chart of accounts and the reporting capabilities within the system. So I can see for restaurants, hotels, warehouses, what's my total revenue for each of those types, what are my costs, and then down here, it's breaking those out into percentages for me. And then here's just a straight up full report breaking out, like delving. So again, up here, we're looking at all my projects kind of put together, or all my restaurants, sorry, put together in that column. Maybe I want to drill in on that and look at a report that's showing me all of my different types of restaurant projects that I've got going on. So I've got a couple of quick bowls, restaurant projects that I'm doing, looking at inception to date. And these are just different quick bowl locations. And then all the projects together are all these floated together. And then again, breaking out the percentages here. And then this guy here is just showing me all of my projects broken out, same kind of report. And then down below, like I said, there's a use of the charting and graphing here, just showing me my project margin by customer. Any one of these guys, as I hover over it, it's giving me the value. If I do want to see the data, I can just hit the show data button there. And then of course, any of these guys, wow, where's all this coming from here? This 8,681,401.11. I can drill into any one of these all the way down to the source transaction. So I'm seeing, that report. Maybe I want to drill into the revenue there. So I want to start drilling into the revenue. I can see that's coming from AR. Woo, doggies, look at that, 3.95 million right there. I want to drill into that AR. Here's the journal entry creating that AR. And then I could start drilling into the actual numbers. Wow, 3.555 million. Let's drill into that guy and see where that came from. Okay, I can drill all the way into the source transaction, which in this case is an invoice. And now this is the AR invoice. Let me just make this a little bigger. I can see it's paid too, so I could also drill into the check where that the payment we got from there. I can see the posting details, the project contract billing details. So I see all the details related to the project here, related to this particular transaction, which is super helpful. We're going to delve more into that in the future in just a minute. And then down here, I can see, you know, all the GL, how it hit the GL and things like that, the various GL accounts and the tagged of the dimensions. But I can see this also came from a project contract invoice. So I do have the ability to drill all the way into that invoice, you know, looking at the specifics coming from that were generated from the invoice, looking at some details up here, looking at the posting details if I want the history, any payment details, again, those project contract billing details. I can look at sources and attachments here, summary billing details if I want to as well. So let me actually just close this window out and this one. That takes us back to our dashboard here. So Sage Intacct also created there's a bunch of reporting packages that we do as a standard implementation practice. Install those in your environment, and those are all based upon an ancillary module called Interactive Custom Report Writer, which allows you to do a lot of cool reporting in terms of you can actually create pivot reports or pivot tables within here. You can join multiple objects in the back end. And that's why they use that as their main reporting for things like, you know, here we can see we've got a lot of AP reports related to project. You know, if we're talking about retainage here, project cash out, projected cash outlay, snapshot of the aging, et cetera. We can also see AR retainage reports here, commitment detail by cost code, things like that. Here we're looking at various commitment reports in terms of you know, construction and things like that. And let's see on this guy, I want to jump over to this guy here. There's some things, reports like project by project manager, project cost entries, project estimate versus actuals, project hours by project manager. You know, if you're hitting the timesheets in here, if you're doing T&M projects, we've got various reports that we can see, you know, timesheet details, timesheet entries, and the like. And then we've also got the WIP reporting down here. So WIP billing GL detail, WIP cost GL detail, and a WIP schedule. There's going to be more on WIP here actually, because Sage Intacct just released a WIP management tool that I think is super delicious. All right, so that's dashboards and reporting. All of this kind of like, how did we get that reporting and how do we tag these transactions? So in Sage Intacct, you know, you've got the interesting, yeah, down here. You've got the projects, which is a dimension in itself. So there is a project dimension, or if you want to change that to job, you can call it job dimension, because you can rename any of the dimensions in Sage Intacct. But here we've got the job, and this is tracking. These all have full records behind them. I'm going to go into this record in a minute, but this is how you can track, you know, projects. You've got a dimension in your dimensional chart of accounts. You can create parent-child relationships. These can actually be 10 levels deep. And then you've got cost codes related to any one of these. So if I look at a list of cost codes here, this is an example of cost codes, and I'm just kind of toggle through here to give you an example. So these can be your cost codes from any of your standard cost coding, or you can make your own cost codes, and you can upload these, import them, et cetera. And then you can create standard cost code catalogs, make it really easy for you to assign to individual projects and so on. The nice thing too, when you create projects, you can create projects from a template. So if you've already got a project that's pretty similar, coming online that's pretty similar to one you just completed, or you've completed in the past, you can duplicate that project or complete it from, or create it from a template, and then it'll have all these cost codes already pre-built along with all the other settings. So you've got your projects or your jobs, you've got your cost code, and then you've got a third dimension called cost type. And in here, you know, you can do things, and you can also create a standard cost type catalog. So you can track things. The cost type allows you to track things like labor burden, equipment, rented equipment, material. So it's just another level to break those things down even further from a reporting standpoint. Keep in mind, anything you tag, any transaction you tag with a value out of any of the dimensions in Sage Intacct, you can do a full financial statement and full reporting by that. So you can dice and slice much more robustly, if you will. So that's an overview of the Sage Intacct dimensions or construction dimensions. I'm going to move on into project contracts. So in Sage Intacct Construction, you can have project contracts. So here's our quick bowls for Tigard, the location being built. If I drill into that, you're going to see on top, I've got a snapshot that's showing me things like original price, approved change, total costs, or total revised bill or revisions coming on here, total build, my retainage amount, and the total payments received. This guy here is the total revised contract price. There we go. On the header here, we're attaching a project here, the customer. You can see various other pieces of information. If I want to exclude this from WIP reporting, I can do that as well. I can drag and drop attachments. Sage Intacct natively, you can drag and drop attachments on any transaction, any master record. So here's where I can do that. And then I've got kind of a summary showing me my original price, my revised price, approved changes, total revised contract price, and so on. Under the integrate to GL, I can post this to GL budgets, and you can see, you can track, what's my original GL versus my revised, my approved, my pending, my forecasted, and any other GL that you want to track here. And then here's where you're saying, well, what type of posting period do you want to use? Period of the project begin date, contract line item date, or period of each project contract line entry. And then down below, we have the lines for the contracts, right? So this is where we're tracking things like on each line, I can determine what's the retainage, what has been if there have been any approved changes. If so, what's the revised price here, the total build, and the GL account related to that. If I drill into any one of these given line items, you'll see there's a lot more detail behind this. Again, kind of a snapshot for this, showing me, various and sundry pieces of information. This is where I can also get more detail on each line. I can attach different dimension values. And we're going to come back to some of this in a minute. So I'm going to drill into, let me see here. Yeah, let's just go back into that screen there. Scroll down here and drill into the project. So I want to take a look at the project. That's the project contract. Let's look at the related project in this case. So you've got a project, and again, that's a dimension, but it's also a record. So this is the record behind the dimension. So on the project tab, I'm looking at the various areas related to the project, so I can track beginning and end dates. Those can span any time frame that you want. You have the ability to create your own project types. So that you can use that for reporting purposes and filtering purposes. You can assign, again, I showed that parent-child relationship, so you could assign a parent project here and then choose to invoice with the parent if you wanted to. You can also create your own user-defined statuses, right? So, is it active? Is it completed? Is it in progress? Are we awaiting a PO for this particular one? And then this guy is related to WIP schedules, which we're going to talk about in the future here. And then you can assign people. The PM is usually what is used to assign here, but you can also assign like who's the external user customer and the sales contact and things like that. On the additional information tag, it's always trying to calculate things like % complete, estimated duration, actual and approved duration. But you can also put in your observed. That depends on, if you're doing like, a fixed fee or fixed fee plus expenses or time and material, you can also do that. This is where you assign the term, the contract amount, and then these guys are defaults. So when I choose this project in a transaction, it's automatically going to default to this department, this location, and maybe there might be values in the class dimension that you want to track as well. The project summary guy here is really where it's allowing me to kind of get a quick snapshot, not to subplant reporting, but just showing you a quick snapshot while you're in the project of, things like material costs, labor, equipment costs, things like that. You have the complete control over, what these buckets are called, what GL accounts are feeding into those, so that you can get your accurate financial summary here. And then down below, it's just showing project projections based upon, billing amount, projected costs, showing you, variances and the like there. Same thing on the hours here, showing me my total billable hours, non-billable hours, unbilled hours for those T&M projects that you might have. And then this is breaking out employee accounts payable and purchase order expenses by total billable, what's been billed, what's committed to, what's unbilled, and what is non-billable. When we move over to the cost codes, again, this is where we can assign these through standard cost code categories. We can drill into this object as well and see that there's additional information tracked on each of those cost codes. So things like the planned beginning and end date. Is it a dependent? Is it dependent? So you can create dependencies. There is Gantt chart capability as well in the system. If it's billable, we're going to assign an item that we're going to bill against. Typically, that's a non-inventory item. We can look at on the additional information here. Is this a milestone? When someone's assigned to this, are they fully utilized? You can track work breakdown structure codes. You can track statuses here. So is it in the plan stage? Is it in progress? Is it completed? Things like that. And then you can put in, different information like plan duration estimated, et cetera. If you want to get down to this level. You can also track production units here and various information related to production units, as well as the cost types here. So we can see, and when you create your standard cost code, your standard cost code catalog, you can also, assign cost types there. So then these would be automatically assigned for you. Okay, let's jump into estimates here. You can add as many estimates as you want here. And then what's on an estimate is, again, it's very detailed where it's showing me, things like, is this the current estimate? Is it a backlog? Is it current forecast, historical, original estimate, things like that. We can see, there's different workflows that we can assign to this. We can also see the project information that fed into this or that's related to this estimate. And then we can see in terms of how we can also relate this estimate or integrate it to a GL budget, in this case called project estimates, similar to what we saw on the project contract itself. And also the kind of similar posting period choices here as well. And then down here are individual line items where we're tracking, the cost code and everything like that. And we're tracking the quantities, whether those are hours or square footage or whatever it might be, and the amounts related to that. Any one of these, by the way, for those of you not familiar with Sage Intacct, any line item in Sage Intacct typically has what we call a window shade that we can pull down. So this is pulling down a window shade and showing me additional information like additional dimensions, maybe a unit rate, things like that. And then we can see change requests related to an estimate. This also can the change request can also be tied to a project contract. And so here, if we drill into, for example, this pending change order request here, we can see we've got various and sundry pieces of information in the snapshot. We can see this is currently it's pending, it's been submitted. We could put attachments here, and there's my pending indication there. And we can see down here, basically it's like, why is this? Why are we estimating this? What's the change going to be? What's the cost related to that, and the price we're going to, bill that person? Are we going to have any kind of markup in there? And then again, there is a pull down here, window shade that shows me various and sundry pieces of information related to this. All right, so talked about that. Kind of drilling back into let's see, we're back at the project estimate. Let me cancel out of that. That's going to take me back to the project record. And we're going to look at the purchasing commitments area. So every project or job has a purchasing commitments area. And this is where we can track all the subcontracts, the contracts we have with our subcontractors and any other purchasing that we want to track here. So we do have the ability to, with Sage Intacct Construction, to track, subcontracts in various phases. And if we, drill into one as an example here, again, much like we've seen on all the other documents, we have a snapshot here, some pieces of information in the heading that's tying it to, in this case, the vendor, but also the project. And then we can track things like shipping dates, scope, the schedule, internal and external references, bond information. And then down here are the things that, okay, what do we, who's the customer related to this job? What is the job? What are the cost codes? And, what are we, purchasing from this vendor? And then we can see different types of information related to down here in the window shade. You can also see I've got change documents. So if there was a change, let me just quickly click over here. Convert it. One of these guys, I'm just going to grab this one and hope I'm getting the right one here. Bear with me here. Yeah, do I see a change here? Not really. Well, you can track, oh yeah, change applied. Here, cost code. So if I drill into here, yeah, I can see there's a change order and I can see the revised price and the details related to that change order. So on the change documents right over here, I'm going to see that change order related to that. I could drill into that, see there's the source document. This change order has been completed, so it's been posted already. I can also see any pending change orders that would be listed here. So if you have multiple change orders, it's maybe 2 or 3 pending, 3 or 4 that have already been posted, then you can track all that right here within the subcontract itself. And then, of course, look at posting details, history, and any commitment compliance. So Sage Intacct Construction allows you to comply or track commitments, things like insurance, miscellaneous documents, lien waivers, and the like. Okay, that's subcontracts. All right, so if we move on to retainage, of course, retainage is very important for construction folks, especially folks like GCs. And so Sage Intacct Construction can track both AP or retainage on the AP and the AR side. So both on the purchasing and the billing side. I'm going to talk about the retainage on the AP side today, but everything I'm kind of showing you today is also related specifically to on the AR. It would just be the opposite. And so basically on each contract, I think I showed earlier, you may recall, on each line of a contract, we can dictate what the retainage is from an AR perspective. We can also do that on each of the subcontracts or purchasing documents from an AP perspective on each line item. So then while you're going through the purchasing process, the day-to-day routines or the billing process, the system's automatically retaining whatever percentage you've told it to retain. So then you would come into, in this case, the AP retainage release area, hit the add button, choose a date, hit the save continue, and then hit the add button here, and it's going to show you kind of everything out there waiting for retainage. So, and the cool thing is, if there's a lot of it in here, I can easily filter these just like any view in Sage Intacct. I can filter, so I just typed in SORR, hit the search button in there, and I can see all the Sorrento interiors retainages. I can see what the original amount was, the amount retained, and then anything that was released. So I see these 2 have already been released. Maybe we want to do the additional release on those guys and maybe do a release here as well, something like that. So now I can say I want to do add selected. And now this gives me an opportunity to maybe change my filter, because maybe I also want to do it for, another, just get rid of this here. Maybe I want to do this for another vendor, right? So I might want to filter for a different vendor, choose some from that vendor, and then add selected. Point is, now that I've added the selected there's the 3 that I've added. Now I can do things like mass select here, set the retainage percentage and say, okay, cool, I want to release everything at 50%. So now it's releasing the the remaining for these guys, because I had already done 50% before, so it's going to, and it's 50% of the retained, by the way. So it's going to release the remaining amount, which is 50% of the original. And then you can see here, this is actually doing 50% of that 25,000 that was retained originally. So then I can say I want to, must have a non-zero, oh, sorry. Remaining, oh, it didn't release anything here. Oh, sorry about that. So this is a great area to show you that I can also come in here and not just do percentage, but I can say, well, I'm going to come in here and manually type this in and say I want to do the remaining amount. And now I can hit the release retainage. And now it's dropped me back at the main screen here where I can see what was released. If I jump over to thought I had a favorite there. Sorry, let me jump over to AP bills here. Then I can see that here's that $18,000 that we just released. If I come into that bill, I can see, you know, each one of those released. And then you just go through your normal AP or AR instance. I know we're running shy of time here, but I do want to show you an exciting new feature that was just released to general availability. It's been out in early adopter program phase for quite a while now, being tested by our existing Sage Intacct Construction clients. It's called WIP management. This is super cool, if you ask me. So you can basically you go into the project settings for WIP schedules. That's going to list all your projects here or your jobs. You can decide, I can mass select here or choose onesie twosies if I want, but you can decide, is this, we're going to include this in its own line on the WIP schedule? Is it actually part of the parent project or part of some other project? And if we hit the display hierarchy button here, we can clearly see that we've got our parent-child relationship. So we can see the separate WIP schedules for each parent, but we can see this as a hierarchy as well. And that leads us over into the WIP management area. So if I come into any given WIP schedule, and you would have just done this by hitting the create button, gone through a couple of, you know, chosen like which time frame you're looking to create the WIP schedule for and things like that. And then it would have done this, created this schedule for you. Now, the thing that you can do, there's a lot of different things. Obviously, this is tracking estimated cost to date, total contract value, CFO forecast, cost of completion, CFO forecast contract value, job to date cost, job to date billings, CFO forecast percent, earned to date. We've got even more fields over here. Year to date billed, earned, over billing, under billing. So there's our over and under billing, and then a comment and whether it's been finalized or not. Now there's also a lot more data down below here. This is, and you can move some of these pieces up on the main line if you want. But the point here is that you've got this, it's pulling it from various and sundry pieces that are auto calculating from the project and the documents related to the project. But then it allows the project manager in here to come in and put in his or her forecasts and the CFO to put in theirs. But wait, there's more. You can also utilize these guys up here, like update CFO values with the PM values, or update the PM values with the project values, or clear these values, update the CFO values with CFO prior WIP values. Same thing on the PM side. And then at the end of the day, you're going to grab these, you know, this guy and say, cool, I want to finalize these. So all that did over here is mark these finalized. You can also individually come over there and click those if you want. And then you're going to go to your posting preview tab. And now that it's finalized, you got to finalize before you come here. It's now showing me like, what's this going to be in terms of my journal entry or my WIP, and when's it going to be in terms of the auto reversal. There in the WIP schedule or in the WIP management settings, you tell it when you want it to reverse in the configuration settings. And then at this point, I would just hit the post. If for some reason I see something, this isn't right, I need to come in here, and you can unfinalize individual line items here, or just go ahead and come in here and mass unfinalize these. And now I can make some, adjustments here if I wanted to. All right, so that is I appreciate you bearing with me. That is the the demo portion, I'm going to quickly ask this polling questionnaire, which is the final one. Sage Intacct Construction comes with 3 standard dimensions: project, cost code, and cost type. Is that true or false? You guys are responding at lightning speed. Appreciate that, since we're getting towards the end of the webinar here. Okay, so yes, 77% of you got that correct. It is true. Those are the 3 dimensions. You can rename any of those dimensions. What made throwing some of the false people off, not false people, the people that answered false, would be maybe I said you could rename the project to job. So I apologize if I confused you there. Cool, thanks so much for this. Our next webinar in our series is the Sage Construction Management on September 18, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is also CPA, as you can earn CPE credits as well there. And then finally, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us, experts at armaninollp.com. And by the way, if you want a full demo, I just scrape the surface, please reach out to us and we can provide you with that as well, custom to your needs. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, Callie. Thank you. Take care, guys.